Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word, the truth and its sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, to the Akwat that are listening and learning, being a pillar of rest, 144,001 third, the hopeful elect of Israel. I'm the brother Yashuan. This is important. This is big. This is big, right? This thing isn't going away, all right? And when I say this thing, talk about the F-35 and the nuke. And I'm going to beat a dead horse until next week. Not that I'm going to make every lesson or every video about that, but we got to keep our eye on this thing because first of all, let's get this real quick. Let's get Zechariah. I'm moving in the spirit, so bear with me. Zechariah 14:12, you know what it is. Okay, let's prove the nukes first. Okay. First, let's prove nukes in the Bible. All right. Zechariah 14:12, and this shall be the plague. They call this a plague, wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Okay, so that's the effects of a nuclear radiation blast. Okay, with that heat, it just melts everything, the elements, if you will. Okay, so that is happening. All right, now let's go. Let's just go to the source. Okay, so what's going on? Let's see, shall we go Nate first? Because I played this yesterday. Okay, and what is this, a day ago? All right. Now what we're going into is, all right, there's a story, right, that's being hidden. All right, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. Nate is going to tell you that between now and next week, information is going to start coming out. Okay? So, and it is. Just by him saying this, that was yesterday, what's going to happen today? I'm reporting on it, right? And then you got this guy. You got Scott. Old Scott Ritter. What the hell is that?
Did the.
Okay. Did the. Okay, you got Scott Ritter, and you got Nate, right? Now let's see. Okay, let's get Sirach real quick. Go back. The usual suspects. You know what it is. Sirach 5 and 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. You got Nate. Where's Nate? Nate has 1.28 million 1.28 million subscribers. Okay? This video has 2,500 comments. Just comments. Where's the views? 221,000 views one day ago. Okay? So, to be not ignorant of anything in a large matter or small, you have to understand that this is legacy. This is legacy light, if you understand what that means. Legacy media light. It's controlled. Let's get that. Kent State. Let's get the definition of controlled opposition. Because he's controlled. Controlled opposition is the use of black people. Controlled opposition is the use of black propaganda and saboteurs who claim to oppose a particular faction but are in fact working for the faction. Go back to Nate. What faction is he working for? Well, Nate appears to be the CIA, okay? Because if you go way back, you go back 5 years ago, he hadn't been picked up yet, right? Or so it seems. Either he works for the CIA or he joined with them. They're using his platform. Where does he get his information? Where does this prepper guy, and see, they planted, either the CIA planted a prepper, right? Because what do you get? Wait a minute. And I'm off topic right now, but look at this. 2,647 comments. So what does the CIA do? Well, they go through these comments, or they got an algorithm, and they want, somebody's going to say, well, I got this much ammo and I got this much da-da-da-da, right? And they're sitting here watching, right? That's a lot. They got a team of people going through 2,500 comments a day. It's a honeypot, Nate is. Oh, a prepper. Let's just place a prepper in there who's got 1.28 million subscribers. Huh? And here, see, and the reason that I say that, because I have, 40? I got 41 subscribers on one page, right? They won't let me get to 50 so that I can go live on that one page. On the other page, I got it's 150 or whatever. Let's see. So 41 and 164 after years and years and years and years. Now, apparently I suck as a, whatever. And I'm cool with that. But when you watch your view count, right, and you watch your subs just fluctuate, you get 6 views and then it's down to 0. So you don't worry about shit like that. You worry about this. Wait a minute. See, because if you don't have any views, people aren't going to be compelled to watch. If there's a bunch of views, people are like, what am I missing? What is going wrong with this? So a suspect, you have to look at this. You have to consider this. You have to be not ignorant of anything in a small being me, matter, right? No views, no subs. That's a small matter. This is a large matter. Look at this. 1.28 million subscribers. And look, 221,000 views a day ago. They're not taking views away from him. Okay, so anyway, controlled opposition. Let's go back. Controlled opposition is the use of black propaganda. This is black propaganda. All right? They're telling him, they're feeding him, giving him information. Here, report on this. Here, report on this. Don't talk about the Israelis. Don't talk about Netanyahu. Right? Just like Nate, don't say the name of the Lord, right? Same thing. So anyway, we got Nate, and then we got the other controlled opposition. They're giving us nuggets. They're giving us some little tidbits, but they're steering you the wrong way. And how can we tell? This guy is saying one thing, this guy is saying the other thing, okay? To keep confusion. And we're supposed, see, and then you got the men of the Lord who are watching everything and have spiritual discernment. All right, so let's listen to Nate. They're both working for the same team. Okay? Nate agreed to this. All right? When you have a YouTube influencer or social media influencer, right? They sign a rock star contract. All right? They sign that devil's contract, that Faustian bargain, just like a record deal. All right, no different. They make you do some Illuminati shit and get you on board. And guess what? Nate is on board. All right, Scott is. Don't you know that they would destroy this dude if he was doing something they didn't want him to do? He'd be out of there. He would be out of. Judge would be out of there. What was his name? Alito. Who did they kill down there in Texas at the Texas shooting range? Justice Scalia, Antonin. He was SCOTUS. Okay, not Judge Napolitano from the little town up the street. All right, Alito, not Alito. What was his name? Scalia, right? And he reported was down there doing some pedophilia type shit. But anyway, Scott Ritter debunks rumors of Israeli use of nuclear weapon inside Iran. What? That's just your opinion. And what he's going to do is this dude is smart. He understands weapons. He understands how things work. So you would immediately believe that, oh, he's telling you, he knows what he's talking about. Of course he does. That's why they trotted his ass out there, right? This dude is controversial, right? He got a little pedophilia on his record too, to make him say things, right? There's pedophilia on his record, all right? This is how they control people. Controls what? Where'd it go? This is how they do what? Control people. Controlled opposition. All right, so who do we listen to first? Let's listen to Scott first, right? Matter of fact, and then we'll go back and see what Nate said, and they're opposing each other. So one's got to, I was saving Luke. Let's listen to Scott. Okay, here we go. 27 minutes ago. So this is today, I believe. Yep. Judge Napolitano says just a snippet, 3 minutes. Scott Ritter debunks rumors of Israeli use of nuclear. And the reason that I'm stuck on it, because this is huge. All right. The world, as we know it, Esau's world, we're at the end of it. It will end in nuclear fire. That's why this is so important. What? Israeli use of nuclear weapon? Huh? They're using nukes already? That's huge. Even if it's bullshit, it's still huge. And this is why we have to stay on it, because it's not going away. It's coming back next week. Take it away, Scott.
Did the Israelis attempt to detonate a nuclear facility over Iran until the Russians stepped in? Is there any truth to that?
Point blank question. Now the controlled opposition. Now listen to what he says. He's going to say, no, and here's all the scientific proof that it didn't happen. But this is just my opinion. All right? You got to keep it there, because in the end, he's very sheepishly going to say, I don't know, without saying it. All right? Listen to the language.
Well, I know Pepe Escobar is a very well-known journalist who has published a post. He says he's getting ready to write a more in-depth article about this. I will say this: Pepe has his sources, and he stands by those sources. Sometimes sources say things that journalists muddle in the interpretation. There's no aspect of Pepe's story that stands up to technical scrutiny, meaning that the story he defined an F-35, a nuclear EMP weapon shot down over Jordan or Syria or someplace in that area by Russians, none of that passes the smell test. The F-35, you pick an F-35 for its stealth properties. It's not the ideal delivery system. If you were looking for a better delivery system, it would be the F-15E, which Israel has. But you pick the F-35 for stealth, which means you're limited to the weapons that you can put into an internal weapons bay to maintain your stealth configuration. That weapons bay is not big enough to hold a weapon that Israel doesn't have, which is basically an anti-satellite weapon, a rocket that can be fired by the F-35 as it goes up. You fire the rocket in the air. This one will be nuclear armed. And
can you see how well versed and intelligent he is? and well informed on the weapon systems themselves. But at the end of this long dissertation, he's going to sheepishly say, well, I don't know. All right. So here's what you're believing. You're believing that he knows what he's talking about. But when he says, I don't know, that's what you got to key in.
Have a nuclear detonation in the atmosphere, which then creates the EMP. But again, the size of the warhead on that translates into a very small area in Iran that would be affected by this, meaning that it has no strategic, utility. It makes no sense. And plus, Russia's shooting it down. How does a Russian airplane get through America's air defenses, through our AWACS, through our coverage, to shoot down an F-35 in stealth mode? And there's no debris, there's nothing.
I'll tell you how. Okay. At some level, all these countries are working together. Right? If the Americans found out that the Israelis were on a lone wolf mission to go drop a nuke because our nuts got crushed, right? And United States found out, oh, we got to stop this. Call Vlad, tell them they're going to try a strike. They're going to be right here. And tell the American air defense system to stand down and let them shoot it down. That's how. That's easy. Because they're doing that. They're working at that. Oh, well, we don't want nukes today, but this rogue nigga is going to do it anyway. We got to stop him or the whole thing spirals out of control. Right? So they shoot it down and then they tell everybody to shut the fuck up and keep the shit quiet, but it's going to come out next week. All right? So we're going to see who's lying, who's controlled opposition. See, I liked Scott Ritter until, some things, he's just right now being tarnished. The brother, Ayash Amath, I think he's in, I forget, Mississippi maybe. Came straight at him and said, slow your roll. He said, Scott Ritter, stand down. Stand down, fool. You're out of pocket right now. So he's in question right now because he came out and he's like, oh, this guy's telling the truth. He's telling, where is it at? He is telling the truth and misguiding you, okay? But are in fact working for the faction. Okay, where'd he go? Let's let him finish. Slovakia, talk a lot.
Say that Pepe's been taken to the cleaners on this one, but he has his sources. He's going to write something. Maybe he can prove it wrong.
We'll see what he comes up with. If what he said is true, what became of the nuclear device? Where is it? In the desert somewhere?
Well, that's the insanity of it because, again, the scenario he depicts means that the device would have had to have been made viable.
Watch him go into the specifics of how a nuke will be detonated. He said, oh, it couldn't happen. Actually, he's going to say that, yeah, all of that could have happened. And there could be a nuke laying out in the desert. But they're smarter than that because they were all in on the operation. They wanted to stop Bibi and rein him back in because it's too early for the show that they're putting on to start dropping nukes. Now, what's going to happen is that solidarity that they all have, and I'm talking about the world, right, all the nations, is going to fall apart. Then they're going to use them weapons against each other.
At launch. Now, there will be avionics and stuff in there that'll set off certain, safety aspects of it so the weapon will be safe. But the actual nuclear material is in the weapon. In the old days, when we flew hydrogen bombs around, the crew would actually have to insert the pit into the weapon so that if the plane crashed on takeoff or something, you didn't have an actual hydrogen bomb around there assembled. This one, it would be there. So if they lost an F-35, A, that's huge. B, they lost a nuclear weapon. C, fissile material now sitting in the desert, where D, there's terrorists out there who, if they got their hands on this, could wreak havoc, whether or not they can actually detonate it, but they could use it to create a dirty bomb. It didn't happen. That's what I'm saying. It didn't happen. I'll bet a paycheck on that.
So basically,
Did
he said, that's my opinion. What is your opinion? Your opinion is you don't want to go to prison. You want that money. You don't want them to take you out. You're doing what they tell you to do. So he came with all that specific information, basically, that's what I believe. So you're basically saying you don't know. Nobody knows. Now we'll go to Nate. We played this yesterday, and listen to what Nate says is going to happen next week. All right? Take it away, Nate.
And by the way, the New York Times corroborated Pepe Escobar's story. Somewhat.
Wait a minute.
They said that.
Stop right there. The New York Times corroborated? Wait a minute, Scott. That's deep water right there. All right? If the New York Times corroborated Pepe's story, that means that right now, everybody is getting their facts, whatever the facts are. They're getting their facts straight. They're getting their story right for what's going to happen next week. All right? Because this is not over. And the reason it's not over, because it happened. If it was a nothing burger, it would have been gone last week. But this thing, it ain't going nowhere. This is going to be around all week, and I'm going to be on it. Listen.
2.443 trillion,
Slovakia.
which is 2.8%. Much larger attack. But in order
Slovakia.
to
I fucked it up.
is around 100 trillion. It's corroborated Pepe Escobar's story somewhat. They said that originally, according to an Israeli official, they initially planned a much larger attack, but in order to adhere to the recommendations of their American counterparts, they decided to scale it back. And so what they're trying to put out here is they're trying to muddy the waters and create a smokescreen for what could be some pretty indicting leaks in the future by...
Hear that? Some pretty indicting leak. Talk about the truth is going to come out. The truth about the situation. Oh, no, that didn't happen. It didn't happen. Scott Ritter, it didn't happen. But wait a minute. We got the New York Times now corroborating Pepe, right? And here comes the shit. So we can watch.
And others who are going to potentially provide actual real evidence that indeed F-35s were loaded with some strategic weaponry and they were going to be used in Iran. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% true. I'm saying where there's smoke, there's fire. If I had to guess between Pepe's narrative and the Israeli narrative that we were going to do multiple strikes on multiple military facilities, I would say the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's no surprise that the U.S. starts talking about a nuclear super weapon, Wunderwaffen, just around the same time, around the same week. So you know this ain't over. Anybody who thinks this is over is insane. North Korea.
Okay, anybody that thinks this is over is insane. Okay, so we're going to see, Scott, who's lying here. So when the information starts coming out and it's good information, what does that mean, Scott? Either that means with all your technical know-how, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you're trying to explain away with your technical know. You're trying to sway public opinion, right? Why are you doing that? When you're supposed to be the hero, our hero who's telling us everything. You're telling us everything, but you're leading us in the wrong direction. And then Nate is leading us in a different direction, and he's controlled too. And we're supposed to be able to see through this. So we're going to stick with this story, right? Because it ain't going nowhere. All right? And we're going to see what's happening. Now, let's go here. Boom, we'll end it on this. Luke 8:17. Let's read NIV first. For there is nothing hidden, right? And they're hiding what really happened. That will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. NLT, for all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and made known to all. So whatever this situation is going to come out. If it's a nothing burger, which it's not. How is the New York Times corroborating Pepe's story if it's a nothing burger. Either it's psyop on a huge scale dealing with nuclear weapons, right? Because Iran, right about the time that or the super weapon, right? When this happened, right? The next day that Iran was saying, "Oh well, we'll hit Dimona. Oh, we have our own nukes." They ain't never said that. Iran has never stepped up and said, "We have our own." They said, right after this situation, they came out and said, "Hey, we got nukes too. Fuck with us." All right. So with that, okay, let's read the King James. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, known to all. Neither anything here that shall not be known and come abroad. So let's sit back and be patient, right? We'll wait for the whole truth to come out. So with that, we hope that the elect will edify you, brothers and few sisters. Shalom.